welcome everybody to the first day of Affiliate Summit. I'm Michelle Held. I flew in last night from the Philly area. I own a digital agency. I've been working on search since the days before Google was such a big deal. It was a lot about Yahoo. And I got into social media strategy. A lot of it was to help out my SEO game. I did a lot in affiliate marketing for tickets, and I'm working on building a travel niche right now. So we're going to talk about how to optimize images for social media sharing. And I have all these slides online, Affiliate Summit does as well, because there's some data tables in here that would be a little bit much to copy down real quick. So I'm going to focus on 9 major social networks. Most of them you probably recognize, Vine and Snapchat, the newcomers to this group. So YouTube, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course. So we have a fascination worldwide with images, pictures of what we're doing. You see tweets from Affiliate Summit all over the place, everything with a photo, who we're with, what we're eating, products that we're using, friends that we're with. So Facebook tells us in one day, 350 million photos are uploaded. Vine, 1.5 billion loops, so that's a play. YouTube, 465,000 days of videos viewed. And then Snapchat, 400 million snaps. And that's for Snapchat, that's a video, a text, or even photos. So what is why? Well, we see from studies that our brains process visual images 60,000 times faster than they do text, and we're increasingly busy lives. We're coming to sites that we use more and more, mobile traffic, and even we entertain ourselves. There's really no downtime. We're always on our phones, we're always on our tablets. And for us as marketers, it's really a universal language because a photo doesn't necessarily need a translation. It works across any market, any country, any platform. So this is from a study of Facebook brand pages, about 4,000 some brand pages. And this is a bit of a reversal from 2014 data. We actually see photos at the bottom of this group of 4. There are more types of posts like an event check-in or a status update. Video at the top of this group, and this is for organic reach. And it seems kind of low, and we refer to video here, talking about native video. That means video uploaded right to Facebook as opposed to something that's linked, say, from YouTube. So video posts get the greatest organic reach of this group of posts to Facebook. And then photos at the bottom, so 4 out of 100 would see it. This is getting squeezed out by the Facebook algorithm. It's not that we don't love to see photos and videos. So we also saw that we see Facebook is trying to challenge YouTube and how much video content. I have been recommending to people for about the past 2 years, if you're in a search engine optimization campaign, that you use YouTube and you use video as part of your SEO. You definitely should be using it as part of your social as well. I want to talk about that a little bit more. Similar stats on Twitter, video and photos getting an increase in retweets. And we know that tweets get about 18% more click-throughs if they include a photo. So this is a snapshot of my Twitter stream from December. 2 big photos should probably stand out to you just because they take up more real estate on the page. One's a giant purple square, and one is a picture of clouds. Not too much marketing message going on here. But one other photo should also stand out, and that's I had too much coffee, the F. So that F, which is the Forbes social profile icon, it's the most important image that you should optimize for social. And why is that? Because it's the one that people see most often. It appears on all your posts, any comment that you make. That guy is the most important image that you could make sure it's very clear and looks good. The other 2, big purple square and cloud, they simply take up more real estate on this page, in this stream, so it makes the rest of the people sort of the biggest loser on this Twitter feed. So when we talk about optimizing images for social, we want to optimize our social post and those photos and their sizes, and I'll give you a chart of recommended sizes. Social profile photos like that Forbes app, and the images that appear on your website themselves. So types of images to optimize. The selfie, especially if you're engaging in influencer marketing. Lost it. There we go. Selfie can be part of your your social media marketing. And so this is actually my daughter and my dog. So I work my dog in every single talk I do. It's probably like 100 photos that they worked on to get this perfect Snapchat video. Professional product photos, the one that we're all used to. If you have an eBay store, you know that when you go to do a new listing, there's a little note there that says, listings that have more than one photo are more likely to sell for a higher amount. Studies show us that 67% of shoppers feel that the product photo is more important to them than the actual product description itself. And if you can get in more than one image so people can see multiple views, you're more likely to convert. Graphics also very important for you to optimize and include if you can. I gave you some data on Facebook and Twitter stats if you include an image. So I could have represented that data as a table, but you can make something stand out more or a little more dramatic if you include it as a chart. Stock images. Stock images are great because we can buy them pretty cheap, get this big, high-res, nice quality images. However, we don't want to overuse them. We've all seen sites where, like I have seen that picture before, and we want to make sure that the stock image actually relates to the content of the page, and then convert them into a favorite of a lot of social sites, the quote. Infographics falling off a little bit in popularity. They do better on sites that have a layout and an aspect ratio that favors tall images. Google Plus and Pinterest would be those two. So social video, there's actually a YouTube talk coming up in about 2 hours. I recommend that you make video part of your SEO campaign and then your social campaign. The quality level that users will accept is decreasing, so that means our cost for us is also decreasing, and I'll talk more about that. The only two sites of the ones that I mentioned that won't take native video, that's LinkedIn and Pinterest, but you can link a video from, say, YouTube, so there's no stats to compare native versus non-native. Now, this is the most important part, the most important question, and most frequent question I get asked. What social site should I be on, and what should I post? I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to go through them rather quickly. They are all online, and I'll give you the URL to that. But it's important that you're posting the right kind of content to the right audience, or else it's a waste of your time and money. So where is your audience? Facebook, 1.5 billion monthly active users, a big age range there, 72% of all online adults. It's important to understand that Facebook's median age is in the 40s, 40 to 45, so it's a little older audience, but they are the biggest. So I usually tell people start there and then pick one or two other social sites if you're on limited time or budget. Instagram, 400 million monthly actives. 51% male. If you didn't know it, anyone can do Facebook ads or Instagram ads right now. You manage them through your Facebook ads manager. 32% of teens say this is their most important social network right now, so they're leaning away from Facebook, but going here, and this one too. Snapchat, 200 million monthly actives. This stat on the bottom, 71%, 18 to 34, that's skewing high, because this is from Pew, and Pew ignores the kids who aren't supposed to be registered because they're under 13. The median ages are probably about 18, and we see some brands doing marketing there as well. Twitter, 316 monthly actives, a little murky where they are going right now, because their growth has stagnated a little bit. But they do skew towards, users there skew towards the affluent. Vine, 200 million monthly actives, humor does really well. And again, you have a young age group skewing towards female, but you do see major brands advertising on Vine. Google Plus, I call it an outlier. I get asked all the time, do I think it's going to last? No, I don't think it's going to last. They report 2 billion profiles. The estimate is actually 16 million profiles. It's very low, and the reason for that is because people who created Gmail accounts automatically got a Google Plus account, and they never even used them or didn't even know they had it. So yes, I post to Google Plus. If you're doing Twitter, you can do Google Plus with the same amount of effort and the same content as well. YouTube, 1 billion plus users, huge part of the population, all kinds of content on there, from music, fashion, do-it-yourself tutorials, unboxing videos. This is a place you can really, really engage your content. It is one of the best ways to engage your users, tell your brand story, show off your product. big audience there. And Dave Taylor, who just stepped out, is going to be doing a talk in about 2 hours about YouTube. I'm going to that. I recommend that you go to it. Pinterest, an outlier, 85% female, but they spend more money. Growth has sort of come down a little bit. You see Snapchat's monthly actives are actually higher than Pinterest, and they're about the same age. LinkedIn, also a little bit different because it's very business. Your content here has to be different. It can't be as foolish as it would be for, say, Snapchat or Vine, or even Facebook. So very conservative content here. 400 million members, college educated, also affluent. So our optimization checklist, 6 things we're going to optimize for: quality, layout, aspect ratio, some technical info about the actual file itself, and then image sizes, and I'll give you 2 charts for post and profile photos, and then your website itself, because you want to make it easy for your readers and your followers to actually share your content and do some of that work for you. So this is the URL to my website. Affiliate Summit shares the files online on SlideShare. I had a couple typos, so I made a late change, but they updated it. So that's my website. ASW16 has links to all the rest of the stuff here and some blog posts about it as well. So quality. When I talk about optimizing for quality, and this is my daughter, the beauty blogger, it's not the quality of the image I'm talking about, it's what quality your users will accept and not go to the next site. How low of a quality will they accept because it's cheaper for us? So she's doing, I'm leaning over my webcam kind of, this is a makeup tutorial. It is one of the most popular categories on YouTube, and it will do really, really well. Could I use this screenshot and post that video to LinkedIn? Absolutely not, because it's not the kind of quality that a LinkedIn user will accept as serious. So we posted this, we took a screenshot, we put up a nice big photo, it's over 1,000 pixels wide. And you see we landed it right above Sean Collins and Affiliate Summit West when we put that up. So he's got a nice photo, so that's a LinkedIn. I shared an image up, he linked in a blog post. I love the cow, I love the high contrast green and blue. It's a nice photo, everyone loves animals. My picture is simply bigger, and that's what I aim for. I want to take up the real estate on the page so you see my post. So we take her screenshot, link it to a blog post, and then the video is there for the LinkedIn users. So talk about layout. So when I mean layout, I'm talking about the social site itself. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, the content you're interested in is in one big column right down the middle. Yes, they have left and right columns, but that's more about suggestions, people you should follow, or ads. The content people are interested in is in the middle. So an image that is wider than it is tall, that's the aspect ratio, does well, or a square image does well. That's as opposed to the multi-column layout sites like Pinterest or Google+. Here, the tall image does very well. If you look at this one picture, right here, the blue one, that's from the Four Seasons in Toronto. That's an example of a perfectly optimized Pinterest pin. It's taller than it is wide, 100% saturation of color, there's no white space. They use blue, which is the most repinned color. Red would be next, and then browns. It's a great example. They could have made the text description a little bit longer. So that will do well on Google+. So aspect ratio, something you should just have a brief understanding of. 3:4, 5:3, that's width versus height. So when you go to print something from your computer, you're used to seeing portrait versus landscape layout. So this is a portrait layout. It's not as wide as it is tall. This one's wider. It's something you should have a basic understanding of which one will do well on which layout site, or if you use a graphic artist, you can say, hey, I want it to be 3:4 or 2:1 works really well on Twitter. This is a 2:1 aspect ratio photo. It's a picture I took over the summer of Pope Francis. It's 2,000 pixels wide, 1,000 pixels tall, and it's a great size to use on Twitter. I usually scale this down to 440 by 220, and I put it up as a Twitter card. And I actually include that aspect ratio photo at the top of every one of my blog posts to make it easier for people to tweet and include a photo. So I'm giving users that content on my website. A 1:1 aspect ratio, so that means it's square. So I took that original photo, I recropped it, and I stuck it on Facebook because I want to get that big, huge photo like we did on LinkedIn and take up some more space. I wouldn't really use this one on Facebook. So I put it there, and then when I put it on Pinterest, where I pinned it 3 times. There's the first one. So I took the original one, I stuck it on Pinterest. It's tiny, and it gets lost in this whole big page. I could have made this better by adding a lot more text to the description, but it's just too small because it gets scaled down to 236 wide. So I went back, I cropped it again, and I posted it a second time. So it does a little bit better because it comes out taller. I cropped it closer to the Pope Mobile. Again, I could have made the description longer, but it's still a little bit tiny. So I went back again, and I added a canvas to the background. So now I've made it nice and tall. I could have made it taller. I could add more to the description to optimize this even better. So on the sites where the vertical picture does better, like Pinterest and Google+, make it as tall as can be, especially for Pinterest where the height is unlimited. So don't go with this tiny little image. Nope. Back up one. And in the opposite direction, pins don't make good Facebook posts. So this is actually from a brand page. They took a Pinterest pin and stuck it up on Facebook. It looks terrible. And this is an example, a good example of what not to do. So each one of them has slightly different layout, no blurry images. Most of the web is 72 dpi, so that's your resolution, dots per inch. With our high retina displays coming, it's going to increase, but it also affects our file size. So 220 for some of the newer displays, that's Apple products, newer Samsung products. And then talk about, you probably are familiar with PNG, JPEG, or GIF files. They affect the file size that we get. So why does that matter? Because it can slow the loading page down, the speed of the loading page down. We know that our users are coming to us more and more in mobile. We want to make that page as snappy as possible for the mobile experience, and we also don't want to get tagged by Google where it says, hey, this page is loading 5 seconds, 8 seconds, and it gets pokey. And that can have to do with the actual file type that you use, whether it's a GIF or a JPEG. So I use Photoshop Creative Suite 5 for all my image manipulation, and I'll usually save a picture in both formats and see which file size is smaller. It's almost always the GIF. But JPEGs do better with gradients and kind of smooth surfaces, so you have to look at them physically and see which one looks better and get the smallest file size you can possibly use onto the page so you don't slow your page down. This is a post I found. It's from Esquire magazine. I found this in December. It's probably not the easiest for you to see, but this image, the center one, is pretty blurry. It looks bad, and it looks bad compared to this nice, sharp advertisement right next to it. I think that what they did is resize an image up. So they had a smaller file, or smaller pixel image that was good for Facebook, because when I went to put it on Facebook and Pinterest, it looked fine. And then they upsized it for their Facebook page, or their blog post. So don't make that mistake. Make sure they look good. You're optimizing for layout. So images do well, landscape images do well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram does take landscape now. They're not all square anymore. Twitter, also for square, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Portrait, those are the taller ones. That's Pinterest and Google+. This is a chart of sizes I'm recommending, and it's all online for posts and the aspect ratio. So if you're looking at this, the images I showed you with Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, thinking, I got to put up a different image for each social site, it'll take forever. If you look back here, see the aspect ratio, 1.91 to 1 for Facebook and Instagram. We see 2 to 1 on Twitter. We can call the 1.91 to 1, call it 2 to 1. It's close. So I could use the same image size for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and save myself some time. Google+, you could do it there too. You could use that same image. Not going to work on Pinterest. YouTube, right here, high def. That's good for SEO as well. In most video editing software, it's going to give you those export parameters right away. For video, I use Corel Video Pro X8. So it has that export with a 16:9 aspect ratio. If you use anything other than that aspect ratio, you end up with the black bars on the sides or the top, depending what you use. It looks bad. And that's a quality level your users will not accept and not think you're an authority or something useful that they want to see. It's a pretty easy thing to shoot for. Just use the right export size. Your profile photos. So this is a Facebook cover page. It's a brand that's online. He's got a product. It's here, 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 and at the bottom. His product is completely or partially blocked in every single picture on his cover photo. It's important. I have templates I'm going to give you two. It's important that when you do your cover photos, and all the sites have them with the exception of Pinterest, that your messaging, your product, is not blocked by something else. On Facebook, it would be the buttons, it would be the text that goes up, and your actual profile photo. So I would have switched this photo with him, or just taken him off altogether. And then the text kind of looks bad on top of each other. So it's important to know what is going to be blocked by something else. And it may take you a few tries. I have a template coming up, you'll see. So YouTube, this one is the only one that doesn't have a profile photo, so I faked it. I stuck my face over here on the left-hand side. This is just one banner. Twitter is very nice because it's a huge banner. They just resized. It's 1,500 by 500. You can put anything up there. There's no restrictions. Facebook actually removed some of the restrictions for text as well. So you can put anything up here. They did take the background images away. Again, I have a template for this size. The only thing blocking in this case is your actual profile photo itself. Pinterest, again, the outlier. So there's no banner image in the back, not even a background color. And our profile photo is round, but it's a 180 by 180. So if you upload the square image that you use for the other social sites, it'll work for Pinterest as well. It'll just make it round, so make sure nothing really important is near the edges. I use like 600 by 600 square photos for all my profile photos, and they work pretty well for others. So social media image guidelines, this is the one for YouTube. You want to be careful that nothing important is at the edges because of mobile users. I have one for all the major social sites at that link I gave you, which is ASW 16. And there are the sizes of profile and banner photos. Again, that's all online. And yes, you're going to have to make a unique one for each social site. I want to say that you only do it once, but they do make changes, so it's important to keep on top of that. If you're using some third-party software to actually manage your social media, go out and actually look at the account once in a while and make sure it still looks good, maybe once a year. On your website, on my sites, my two blog sites, and I'll give the URLs at the end, I use Open Graph data because it helps the information I have on the site get found in searches. It helps on social profiles. So Open Graph data is metadata that you add to the site. It works for Facebook, it works for Pinterest, and they call it rich pins. Also can work for Twitter, and it works for Google+. When you are creating images, actually use a keyword phrase in the image name itself. So when we download a photograph from our cameras, it comes off as DSC and some random number or the date or whatever the camera name gives it. So take some time to rename that photo into a keyword. And when you put them on your site, use the keyword in the alt tag. And your Open Graph data, if you're using a WordPress site and you use Yoast SEO, it's going to be automatically there with the only change you'd have to make is for Pinterest and a recipe pin that doesn't work for that. And then our small file sizes. We want to give users the opportunity to share our information. At the top of each of my blog posts I mentioned before, I have a Twitter card. And then I usually put at the bottom of it a very tall image. So even when I'm going and doing some sharing of my own information, I have a Twitter card at the top, so I can put that up. I have a tall image at the bottom, and then I have usually 2 or 3 photos in between, especially on the Pinterest site. So I have lots of images for people to choose from and share, and I give them the opportunity to do some of the work for me. Copyright. Don't steal other people's photos. There are lots of sites that you can get stock images from. They're pretty low cost. Make sure if you're buying images that they're actually relevant to the content that's on the page. I'm at 5 minutes. Relevant to the contents on the page. Don't swipe things from other people's social profiles. I see quotes reposted all the time. Don't do that. Don't get your business in trouble. It's pretty easy to create your own content. So now I have about 5 minutes. I could take some questions. And there are both my sites. You can see some examples there. If you view the source, you can see the Open Graph data there as well on both of them.
Do you feel that on your banners, should they be the same across all the subdivisions?
You definitely want to have consistency across that. Mine are by far and wide not identical. The profile photo is always the same on it. What's on top can depend on how much space I have. My Twitter and Facebook are pretty close to each other, but they aren't identical. And there's also a little bit to changing up the top of it as well to give some variety too, but the profile photo, they're consistent. Yeah?
What sort of engagement do you shoot for with particularly Facebook posts?
So Facebook posts are a challenge right now. If you have a brand page or if you're managing other people's brand page, you know it can be a real tough time getting through the algorithm. I'll put up something and I'll see something hideous like 10 people reached, or I'll put something up and I'll see 2,000 people reached. So I'm horsing it with it all the time. I found that in the beginning of 2015, what I was seeing is that the photo posts were definitely declining in engagement, and the text post, text only, was easier to get through. I would see a lot more organic reach, but it's a challenge. The way to get around that, if you can get likes and comments, so you want to post something that fishes a little bit for comments or prearrange the comments, that's the way to get around the algorithm. The comments will really get you past that. So I still go with photos, I still go with video, I hashtag it, and I choose something that's a little controversial.
Do you find hashtags to be effective on Facebook?
I do get through them, yeah. It all depends. Sure, what do you got? You could crop it. So that's why I was saying I use Photoshop. You can crop it. You mean file size limitation or the actual pixel size? Yeah, so crop it to like a 1024 square for Facebook is a nice size. So you crop that down. They're not going to, I can't remember what the megabyte limit is on Facebook in particular. So that's the limit there. If it's too huge, you end up causing it to be a slow loading speed. For video also, one thing I didn't mention, it's important to optimize your video. I call it the sound off experience. So you have more and more users looking at videos. They don't have headphones on, they're in a public place. You want to get that message in, say like the first 10 seconds, so users don't pass you by. And try to get your marketing message across as if there was absolutely no sound. Any other questions? Yeah?
What do you use to manage all your different profiles?
So I have a couple things going on. So for image manipulation, I'm using Photoshop Creative Suite 5 because that's the last version that's not a subscription model, right? And I don't want to pay monthly. I just bought that flat out. I'm not upgrading. For videos, I know it's not quite the question you're asking. Videos, I'm using Corel Video Pro X8. To manage my social media, I'm using Hootsuite. I have a pro version. For discovering content, I have Google Alerts set up on a bunch of different keywords. And then I also use a subscription which is called Bundle Post. So I pay $100 a month for that one. But it's really nice because I make a bunch of folders and I organize it by site and content, and I actually really do like that one. There's another really popular one that people use. I can't think of it right now, but it didn't work out for me. So Hootsuite and Bundle Post help me out a lot with content. I'm trying to think of what else. And sometimes I'll go right into Facebook and just schedule posts too, especially if I'm having a hard time. Yeah. Yeah, so Instagram, you can use Hootsuite to put things up to Instagram, and then you have to go actually to a mobile device itself, and then you sort of verify that. I just post stuff right up to Instagram. I tried it, but it was not any less work. So yeah. I haven't used too much. I've signed on to people's blabs. I've stalked people's periscopes. They remind me a lot of, I'm trying to think of that one site that sort of died. It was when you had, what was the name of it? I'm not so convinced that Periscope and Meerkat are here to stay. I'm definitely focusing on Snapchat as the up-and-comer, especially because Facebook offered to buy Snapchat right in the beginning, which they declined that. So I don't know. I know people are loving Periscope, but there's another social site from like 6 years ago, and I can't think of the name, where it disappeared. So I don't know. Any other questions? We're out of time. The timer is up. What, real quick?
What do you think about watermarks?
Yeah, I see a lot of people will put their profile, say your Twitter handle in the lower right corner of something they put up, which you could just download that and crop that right out on the bottom. Watermarks, you see it a lot on eBay postings, not so much on social. You really don't. Yeah, it does protect your content, but I don't know. I don't do it, and I don't see a lot of it either. But it's a good question. It's a good question. All right, we are out of time. Thank you. The meat market is next.